Everybody, today we're going to tear down a carburetor, a Keihin carburetor that's right here off of a Honda CT70. This would be a 1970 model, many years the same. And then we got a Chinese unit from Amazon right here. What we're going to do is just tear these down and compare them, see how much they're alike, which I'm guessing, since this is from China, is going to match this one almost exactly, because China has no morals at all as far as just copying other people's work and selling it for really cheap. So with that, we're going to tear these down, and I just do a little bit at a time on these and compare them. So we'll start with the petcock here. I haven't even tried to pull one of these parts, so I don't know how. I've had some of this stuff from China where they run those screws down so tight you can't get it apart. So we'll find out how bad this one is as far as that stuff goes. Kind of keep our screws separated there. So one thing that this is different on is how it's set up, where this is off. We've got reserve, on is down, where our stock carburetor has the off, reserve, and on is in that position. So that itself is a little bit different. So if you're had your bike for a long time and riding and you put one of these on, you're gonna have to kind of retrain your thought for that. All right. So all this is the same. It's got a little spring washer there. That is like that. We've got our little rubber seal here, which looks identical to the, get out of there, and it is. It's identical to the original. It's right there. So if we can tear this part, I could tell you that everything there is the same. So we'll put our Japanese stuff and kind of keep it separated from our Chinese stuff. So I say this is the only thing that's kind of different. It's just how this is here, and how it is set up as far as how it clocks on the carburetor for on and off. So that's the same. We got our little there. That's the same. Only this one, they've changed the orifice in the carburetor a little bit to so that it's got this double orifice there, or single on the original carburetor. So pull that out of there. As you can see, it's identical to the Chinese one. There. All right. Well, let's do our fuel filter next. Here, we'll do the Chinese one. Screw was nice and loose. That's good. Put that stuff back there. In fact, it was actually very loose. Wasn't even tightened down. So maybe there's one thing. If you get one of these carburetors, you may want to go over all the screws and make sure they're tight, if that would have vibrated off. All right, so yeah, this is the same. It's got that same rubber seal there, just like the Keihin does. Here's our There's our screen right there. So it's got some kind of an assembly lube or something. That's not, it's not gas anyway, which is good. Must be some kind of a oil that they put in there to protect it. So that is the Chinese one. Here's our Keihin original carburetor. It's going to look exactly the same, except the screen is a little easier to get out. Screen there, and see they make that so that it's got these, so you can grab a hold of it, pull it out, where the Chinese one was just a flat piece that's in there. So that actually, you know, it is identical to it, where you could bend those tabs up and give yourself something to pull out of. They just didn't do it at the Chinese factory. All right, well, stay in the same order. We'll do the Chinese float bowl first. Those were nice, but torque down just about the right amount there on those. So, there. Amazing that they can build these things. Dump that in the garbage. Man, I don't know what that stuff is. It stinks. That's for sure. I don't know how they can build these things and sell them so cheap. Other than the quality of the product is matches the price on these, I can tell you that. All right, so float is brass. Let's check the height of that float out there. And see, it's supposed to be 25-30 seconds. So let me adjust myself to 25-30 seconds. Right there. Supposed to measure it from the edge there to there. I thought that look at that. It's way off there. Both sides are. See, that one's a lot closer. See if I'm picking that up on there. That one's a lot closer than this one. So this side is out of adjustment from left to right, and that's a brand new carburetor there. So there's first problem right there is that thing needs adjusted correctly. Go figure. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. And there's our needle seat. It does use what? Yeah, oh yeah, it's got that neoprene seat on it. That's what they are using. So I'll put all that over there. We'll pull apart our Keihin. Take a look at that. All right, this is a 50-year-old carburetor right here that we're pulling apart. That you know, who knows how many miles has been put on this thing since it's been apart the last time. Maybe I've never been apart. This could be right from the factory. And there's that. Pop that off of there. There's our our needle. There is, you know, it's got that little bit of spring tension in it. This one is stuck. It's in the bottom position, so it's not going to measure correctly at all. So that does no good. But let's pull that out. Compare floats from a Chinese float to a Japanese float there. Pull that out of there. Guess we could take, yeah, that baby's stuck in there. Pretty gummed up. All right, so let's look at these in comparison. So the size-wise, you know, this is the Keihin, this is the Chinese one. So it's much more outside volume to those. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but it's definitely same size and diameter, but thickness-wise, the Keihin is much thicker than the Chinese one. All right. So you can look at these, and they look just pretty much identical to one another, don't they? Thread size on main jet's the same. Slow jet looks exactly the same. Now the Chinese one has a pressed seat where you can pull the seat out with a 7mm out of the Keihin. That's a big plus in the Keihin side. This is basically a throwaway. I mean, well, probably a kit for this Chinese carburetor costs more than buying a new carburetor. So, you know, you wouldn't have to worry about trying to get this apart, I guess, because you just throw it in the garbage. Probably where it belongs in the first place. All right, so there you have it. But let's just talk for a moment about if you got a Keihin carburetor that needs a part, to be a lot cheaper just to buy one of these, because I'll tell you why. This carburetor here, I needed the new choke, the flapper that's in the choke, because that center portion was broken out of it. Well, I robbed it out of this thing, and it was the exact same match. Screws, little brass retainer, everything was an exact match. So I just robbed it out of this carburetor, put it over there. If you let the gasket's the same there, all your seals are the same. So the only thing that's not the same is your needle and seat. So if you bought a new needle and seat for your Keihin carburetor, bought one of these carburetors, stripped it down, and used the parts out of it, it'd probably be cheaper, because just this part here is a little pricey in itself. So that might be worth looking into. It does look like, you know, if you did have a bad float, the float from the Chinese would work. I don't think that little bit of difference would make a whole lot of difference. So you could swap those out as well. So you could basically take the guts out of your Chinese carburetor, put it in your Japanese carburetor as a rebuild, everything but the needle and seat. So that's just a thought, you know. That's a thought. So with that, I think we looked at these. You know, the one thing that determined was that the needle and seat on the Chinese is a throwaway. Everything else pretty much came out the same. You know, it would change your clocking on your petcock, so it would not be as it was when it was original. You could, if you had your Keihin carburetor, though, you could swap that out, keep the new seal in there, and it would be clocked correctly. So that would be another thought. If you wanted to use the Chinese carburetor, could do that. Now the one thing, remember, when we took this thing apart, that float was way out of adjustment. So if you do buy a Chinese carburetor, you're planning on using it, I would definitely tear it down, set the float to the correct height, because that was far enough off that it would flood. And you know, when you get those, I've had this creep up on me from time to time. You get one of these where this one is the one floats higher than the other one on there, that you'll get it where it'll only leak sometimes. You know, I think that it goes up, pushes against the needle and seats it and stops the flow, but it just isn't enough pressure to do it every time. So sometimes it'll leak, sometimes it won't. So if you're going to use the Chinese carburetor, tear it down, adjust your floats to match the specs, and I would think you could use the same exact specs as the Keihin carburetor, because it's just a ripoff from the Keihin, just like China does on everything. They can't think up anything on their own. They got to steal from other countries and other people that worked hard to design and do research and development on stuff. All right, so I'll quit ragging on Chinese junk, and hopefully you learned a little something from this video, and you can use that further down the line. So thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, so that way I get paid maybe a little bit more, because time is money and these videos take time. Have a blessed day.